Hello, homies. So today's a little bit of a different one. I have got with me the lovely Sharon Ralston. Say hi, Sharon.
Hello.
And Sarah Scott. Say hi.
Hi.
And Donna Sadzius. Hi, Donna.
Hello.
Now, these three incredible ladies were, I don't know if it's brave or crazy enough to join my little team. Sharon, was it a year and a half ago now that you joined? Hey.
Yeah, April
And yeah, April
last year.
2021. Hey. And Sarah was that about October 2021, I think? So that's over a
Yeah, that's
year.
it.
And Donna is probably about, what, 6 months ago or so?
Yeah, about 6 months, I think.
Yeah. And these three incredible ladies have got a wealth of experience amongst them. And it's just been such a blessing because I think as homeopaths, often we can be quite alone just in our own little home clinics and not have much support. So it's been wonderful to have these ladies to bounce ideas off and to help support the mums in our Australia Women's Support Group for homeopathy that we have here. So, ladies, I thought we would just do a little bit of a year in review and just have a little chat. You know, it's nice for our clients here in Australia to just hear what a meeting sounds like between us and what sort of things we like to chat about. Um, Maybe Sharon, do you putting you on the spot?
Don't put me on the spot.
Do you want to maybe have a chat about maybe what sort of courses you've done this year?
Oh, courses. Well, I've finished off my course with George Batulkas,
Oh, did you?
the 2-year diploma, I think it
Mhm.
is, um, which took 3 years. But so it's a tough one because actually a lot of people are looking at doing that course, and it is a great course. But people look at the amount of time, the 2 years, and think, oh, this is only 2 years, I'll do that. But it's actually, yeah, it's hard going to get it done in 2 years, I think, if as a homeopath, there's lots of information to go through. But that was good. Um, what other courses? We've signed up for Hilary Dorian's masterclass, so
Mhm.
just a couple under our belts there. Um, and that's about it.
Have you done
Oh,
some of the?
tons. We've done
Yes.
some of tons. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you and Sarah maybe want to have a chat about that? Donna, I don't know if you've done any of his courses this year as well, but Sarah, do you want to
No.
maybe say a bit about Ton's courses and maybe what it is and what the courses were about?
Yeah, so Tom is a homeopath over in Europe, and he's kind of revolutionized this new methodology of prescribing. He uses a lot of detoxing remedies and a lot of courses where you can balance out hormones and neurotransmitters and all sorts of amazing things that I didn't think I'd be looking at as a homeopath.
Mhm.
So I've become a little obsessed with that this year. It's come into my practice a lot. I'm eagerly awaiting his next book on it, which is due out next year. Um, his courses are phenomenal. They can be pretty intense and heavy going with the sort of topics and complex cases that he deals with. But he does seminars throughout the year, so you get to pop in and out as much as you want, and the topics are very varied. We recently did one on the brain neurotransmitters, which was amazing, and the work for children that have had any, if there's been any issues during pregnancy or during the labor and delivery process. And a lot of the brain neurotransmitters really helping ease some of the complaints afterwards that they've had. So that's been amazing and really interesting to sort of watch what he's doing and progressing with that. But yeah, I love all that.
Well, that's actually really cool because me and Sharon went to this like retreat day, like yoga and meditation and stuff like that. And she shoved me these remedies that said BDNF on them and said, try that. So that's the brain derived neurofactors, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
I still don't even know like what I'm supposed to do with that. I think I need to go do that course of Tons. But have you used that in your clinic yet, Sarah? Like what sort of things have you seen with it?
I haven't used that one. I've just
Mhm.
ordered it, so I have it in clinic because I saw a client recently that I thought would benefit from it based on what Tom had been saying. So my plan is to have a look and see if that's going to be useful at the follow-up. We've started with a few other clearing courses with that child. So I haven't used it yet, but I can already see a few people with, you know, their intake forms that it's going to be something that's going to be worth looking at for them. Yeah. So next year, I think it'll be more in use.
Be a good one. And you can use that one. He says is really good for anybody up to 28 years old. Hey, I mean, I can't see why not. I was even thinking on the other side of the spectrum with Alzheimer's and dementia. And what do you think?
In the aged care sector. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll try it on my dad. Anyway.
I'm telling. Donna, have you done any courses this year? I mean, you've got 20 years experience behind you. Probably don't need any courses.
Yeah, I'm kind of there. But I did do a Sarcode course with Dr. Garang. That was quite interesting.
What was it called?
It was a Sarcode course, all about Sarcodes. Yeah, and I got to use one of the ones we were taught quite soon after I finished the course. Do you want to hear about that?
Yes, please. And also tell our listeners what Sarcodes are. Some of them won't know.
Body's own substances, so something that's made from the body. A retired colleague, homeopathic colleague, breeds dogs now, and she asked me if I would have anything for a dog that the semen is, the morphology was wrong, but like half of, or even more than half of them didn't have tails.
Wow.
And they were like malformed and not a lot of the sperm. So it was very low count, something like 28% or something. And I said, well, funny about that, I just did a Sarcode course. So yes, I've got two in mind. One is testosterone and the other one is orchitinum. So I had a bit of a think about it and I chose orchitinum. It is made from testy extract.
Wow.
So we know what that might be. Sperm. So we did that 5 doses, daily dose for about 5 days. And then I think she swapped to just, now and then. So every few days she'd give a dose. Next time the sperm was tested, it was improved to like 80-something%. Morphology was excellent. And then the last test she just had done was 98%, so it's perfect.
Wow.
So that's dog's amazing. Ready for breeding again.
Well, I hope you get a free puppy out of it at least.
No, I've already got 2. But now there's one of her female dogs that is having problems, not conceiving when it should be. So I just gave her yesterday ufarinum, which is made from the ovary. So that's the next test we're going to do.
That's fantastic.
So cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
really
amazing.
Exciting.
Now, for our listeners, Donna treats, is it just specifically dogs or animals in general?
Dogs specifically, but I do cats and whatever else comes at me. Yeah.
That's so cool. And have you had any interesting dog cases? I mean, those two are pretty interesting, but any other interesting dog cases this year?
One I can think of was maybe like hay fever. So it's sneezing, runny eyes, runny nose, and then started to get itchy and got like what's called a hot spot. So on her side, like on the ribs, left rib, was losing hair, itchy, and then you could just see like blood and skin. It was pretty yucky to look at. Checked the repertory, of course, and came up with squilla. So it is for hay fever, and it actually has eruptions or something, I've forgotten exactly now, but on the left side of ribs. So exactly where that happened with the hot spot, that remedy had in the remedy picture. So fixed it up. Like I think hair was grown back within 10 days completely. It was just amazing. No more hay fever.
Oh, wow.
Have you noticed a lot more hay fever cases this year? I think hay fever has gone through the roof, and it's a lot much stronger. My typical remedies that would usually work on a particular person, just not touching it at all.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that as well. It's interesting because you guys are over on the east coast of Australia and we're here on the west coast, me and Sharon. So for you to also notice that, it's very interesting. But I have definitely noticed that, and people that haven't had hay fever for years suddenly getting it, and the ones that get it every year are getting it much worse than normal. Yeah. So that has been very interesting. Yeah. And obviously it's just a sign of the immune system not working properly. And there's been some interesting things happening the last couple of years that certainly suppressed a few people's immune systems. So I guess it makes sense, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying a histamine course with one person to see if that'll just sort of re-regulate things, because the typical remedies that are coming up for her aren't working. So I'll let you know how that goes, to see if that sort of resets the system.
What about poly-IG though?
I know, as a course.
I've got that as well. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
if you say, when you
in.
say histamine course, can you just explain to our listeners what you mean by that?
Yeah, so a histamine course would be histaminum in 4 potencies, so 30C, 200C, 1M, and 10M. So this is following Tom's work. And you would do a course. You can do them in all different sort of ways and different lengths of time. If it's a very acute situation, you could even do all 4 potencies in one day, ascending through them if it's very acute.
In one day?
Yeah, you can do it in one day if it's very acute. That's Tom's recommendation. But if it's something that's been going on for a while and it's not so extreme and acute, then you might want to do it over 4 weeks. You could do one potency twice a week, and moving up through the potencies. Or the standard one is about 8 weeks. So you do 2 weeks at each potency, moving up.
While we're on the Ton Janssen detox protocols, a lot of our clients, it can take if we're doing a typical vaccine detox for a child, it can take up to about a year to do it, unless obviously you do the poly childhood vaccines, which has got all of it in one go. But for any of our clients who see any of us that do Ton Janssen's protocols, it tends to be on a Monday and a Thursday. Generally, unless you've picked a different day with your homeopath, or you're doing a couple at the same time. So one might be one Monday to Thursday, the next might be Tuesday and a Friday. I always feel like I'm a little bit behind with the times, but one of my clients actually told me this great little tip the other day of how she remembers to take it. Is she goes onto her iPhone and she sets an alarm. I didn't know that you can label alarms. Okay, don't laugh. But you can actually label alarms. So you can make your alarm go off at a certain time every Monday and every Thursday, and then label that alarm with detox. And so my alarm's actually just been going this whole year on a Monday and a Thursday. It goes off and with a label of detox. And I've just kind of been doing like one after the other. I finished the DTP vaccine detox, which I started at the start of the year, but then I had the appendicitis after that. So, and contraceptive detox I've just completed, because that one I kind of half started and didn't finish. And then the poly heavy metals one I've done this year as well. So, and my husband's doing a few detoxes at the moment. He's actually doing the mold detox, because we've just, there's this online test you can do. And if you actually just Google, CIRS online test, it will come up. It's about $25 to do the test. His doctor actually recommended that he does it. And you answer all these questions. And then at the end, it will give you like a score on what the possibility is that you have CIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And that might be due to mold or toxins or all sorts. And his response actually came back so high that of the likelihood of mold, which finally it feels like we've got a little bit of an answer to this chronic inflammation that he has, and the chronic pain that he has, and the migraines and everything else that we've been trying to help him with for so long, and sent him to so many different people. And so yeah, including myself. But it's not good treating your own partner, and most homeopaths don't. So I always, he's my guinea pig. I always send it to all other practitioners, see if they have any help. But we're busy doing the mold detox with him now, and he's been doing really good on that. So he's had a great response. So I've also, in addition to that, a while ago created this little detox remedy, which has got phytolacca and pulsatilla low potency in it for the lymphatics. It's got hydrastis in there for the gut. It's got milk thistle and dandelion for the liver, and it's got berberis for the kidneys, and I don't know what else it is, but all in low potency, like 6x potency. And I've been saying to my clients, if you want to just do like a gentle detox, or alongside your homeopathic detox that you're doing, just put 2 pillules in your water bottle, shake it, and drink it during the day. And Yaku, my husband's actually made this incredible discovery that when he takes his detox, the mold detox remedy, quite often he almost instantly gets this really bad headache. And then he'll take this detox support remedy and the headache will go away. And just in general, at any other time when he started getting headaches, just for random reasons, he's taken this detox remedy and it's gone away. And he's always like my barometer, because he is Scorpio. So he's very black or white, no in between. So either something works or it doesn't. And he will never entertain me by saying a remedy works when he doesn't feel it doesn't. So it's been great to get his feedback. I kind of went a little bit off topic there, but I just wanted to let you know about, well, actually, to be fair, I don't feel anything's going to be off topic today because it was an opportunity just for us to chat about what's been happening this year.
I think that's a nice thing to add in, though, the detox support remedy. I find the detoxes in general to be pretty gentle, and no big sort of responses that people are getting, just, feeling really good on it. But there have been occasions where people with any prescription, people can be a little bit more triggered than they're comfortable with. So having the detox support along with it, it just gives them a bit of that security blanket that if they need it, they can do that and be, their own doctor and self-prescribe with that a little bit.
What about books? Oh my gosh. Anyone had any exciting books this year? Who wants to start?
I know. Well, books
I've lost all my money to books this year.
Yeah, exactly. And the other day I was talking to Sarah about books and she told me about this great book. So I was going to order it because my niece was going to be coming over from the UK. And now she's not coming. So I was really disappointed about that, but also my book. And then yesterday the book arrived and Sarah was like, my God, that was quick. I said, I actually ordered it about 3 months ago, but it's taken so long to get here. So thank goodness I didn't order it from the UK as well. So yeah, Homeopathy for Midwives by Barbara Garrity. So that, and then of course Ian Watson's two of his, the homeopathic miasms, and also Christmas is busy. Christmas break.
I really want to get Ian's The Tower of Homeopathy. I haven't read that one yet, but when we did the interview with him, that sounded really fascinating. Have either of you ladies got that book?
No, but it would be good, I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting.
And Donna, you've just got Colin Griffith's new books.
Yes.
those
I haven't
joined.
I've just looked at the indexes so far. It's also my Christmas reading. Yeah. I haven't had a chance yet.
And those are great.
I bought those 3 books this year as well. And I was prescribed Berlin Wall the other day, and it was really nice to be able to find some information in that. Also, I took my son to a homeopath this year for the first time in his life. He's 11. So we just started seeing some of those hormonal changes in him. And I'm like, right, that's it. You need to go to a homeopath. And she prescribed plutonium nitricum for him, which I thought was really interesting. And then as I was flicking through Colin's books, because I only just got them a few months ago as well, I haven't had a chance to properly read them, I found plutonium nitricum in there. I thought, let me have a read through this. And I didn't realize that the other name for Pluto is Hades. And the crazy thing is that my son played Hades in a school play this year. So I was like, how freaky is that she prescribed him plutonium nitricum when he was Hades in the concert? And, he goes to Steiner school. So often the teachers will, they see things in the children that, they wouldn't otherwise. And so this homeopath obviously saw something that, possibly a Steiner teacher saw as well, which is actually, this little character, but it's also got this sweet little romantic side to him, but it's kind of like misunderstood.
Is Hades the god of the underworld?
Yeah.
And then he falls in love. And it's the whole creation of spring.
Yeah. So it was interesting. And then, cool. His homeopath was saying that plutonium nitricum is actually a really good ancestral clearing remedy as well. I'm like, that's really cool. But yeah, Colin Griffith's seminar, I did that one this year through CHE. I think you did as well. Did you ladies as well? Hey?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how we've got these remedies to clear all this ancestral trauma. And actually that triad of his with the syphilinum, thymus gland, and ayahuasca, that's a really beautiful changes with that remedy. I've really enjoyed prescribing that.
Yeah, I've done that one as well.
Yeah.
And I just received Berlin Wall yesterday, so I'm looking forward to doing that one.
And now that's interesting because, some homeopaths put Berlin Wall, store it far away from their other remedies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I just refuse to buy into that superstition because I used to store my camphor away because a lot of homeopaths store their camphor away. And I think actually plutonium nitricum is the other one that they say to store away from the other remedies because it's so powerful. But I'm like, us homeopaths are not immune to superstition because, I purposely have my camphor in with my other remedies because I refuse to buy into that. And the other remedies are still working. But I wonder where we get this kind of superstition from one remedy's going to antidote another. I don't believe that. I think they all have their own energy I don't know. Or maybe there is an element to it that I'm clearly just missing, but.
And even, I got in my son's car and I'd given him a remedy in a little clear, those old little like vodka bottles you got in the swimming pool or something. So I'm a swimming pool aeroplane.
It's
Friday at the end of the year. You're allowed to say what you want.
And put water in his remedy, and I can't remember what it was for. Or if it was Nux Vomica for after a big night or this or that. And I got in his car and it was sitting in the door. It's a clear bottle, sunshine. He parks it outside of uni. So, the car gets to goodness knows what. And I said to him, this. He says, well, why not? So I said, because it stops, the effectiveness and that. And he says, well, I'm telling you now, he said, it still works all the time. And I thought, well, there we go. And that sat in his car for a year. Never been changed. I put nothing in it, just water and his remedy. And
well, this last summer I purposely left my first aid remedy kit in my car all throughout summer. And it's 40 degrees outside here on some days, and goodness knows, like you said, how many degrees it's in the car. And I've purposely used the aconite and the arnica in there, and it still works. So we have to be a little bit careful, I guess, saying that, because we don't want somebody to accidentally antidote their remedy, it not working, and then them thinking homeopathy doesn't work. But I've had so many clients now that have said to me they have their remedies with the food. And Donna, you probably some of your people probably give the remedies to their animals in their food. I know one of the homeopaths I had on the podcast says that they tell them to put the remedies in the food.
Yeah, I don't, though. I prefer, I'll tip the pill into your palm and let them lick it off, or just pop it straight into the side of their mouth, or make it like a syringe, wet dose and syringe it in. Yeah. But also traveling overseas, like back and forth, I was going 3 or 4 times a year. None of my remedies didn't work. They all still worked. So even with all that radiation.
Exactly.
I know.
I have to share with you, ladies.
Pretty tough, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are tougher than what we think. I have to share with you, ladies, another book that I just got is Getting Back on Track with Mega Potency Homeopathy. And we're actually now going to be suppliers of Jill's book, and she's been on the show. The episode will be released soon. But that's been a whole other game changer for me, is the Mega Potency Homeopathy. Have any of you used much of that?
No.
Not enough. But I started listening to her book. I really was enjoying that.
Yeah.
I just haven't had enough long car journeys recently to keep going. But
with that, the other when I was listening to it, because I first listened to her audiobook, and then I was like, okay, I have to get her on the show, I have to buy her books. And she talked about Leadham. I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds a lot like my husband. And then as I was listening to it, I literally just had this aha moment. I was like, oh my God, he's got this tick bite on his leg that actually the skin is kind of like all necrosed around it, like really dark and raised. And it's been there for like a couple of years. Like I said, anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, Leadham, like maybe that's the one that he needs. So literally just this week, he's had a dose of Leadham CM. So watch this space. It's going to be really interesting to see how he goes on that. But
I've had a Leadham story in the last 2 weeks with myself. I dropped a wooden block from a height onto the hinge of my big toe. And the pain was intense, very, very intense. I couldn't speak for about 10 minutes. The kids ran and got me some arnica, and that took the edge off the pain instantly. But I woke up the next morning and it was black. My whole toe was black. I couldn't move it at all. It wasn't sore to walk on or put weight on, which I thought was phenomenal. But I was convinced it's probably broken. I probably chipped something or cracked something. I didn't do anything about it for the day. I continued with my arnica for the day. And then when I got home that night, I thought, actually, it's probably a crush wound. It's probably not. Leadham would probably be better for it. And it was just so black as well. So I took 1 dose of Leadham. I woke up the next day, bruise almost entirely gone, full range of movement back, and all swelling gone. It's been fine ever since. One dose of Leadham.
Oh,
Potency, just, I know we're talking about mega potencies, but you know, your
Amazing.
normal first aid kit, it just, yeah, I couldn't get over it. So good.
That is great. Really good. You didn't take a photo, of course?
No, of course not. But I have eyewitnesses because they all saw it from one day to the next and they were like, oh my goodness, what has happened?
Well, you
Yeah, it looked
respond
awful.
fast to the remedies then, because I think it was the start of the year where, it was the start of the year where you had that rash with your neck and you took that remedy and that was just a couple of doses and the rash is gone. And you did take a photo that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I do. I respond very fast, actually.
yeah, amazing. Any other, what sort of other stories pop up in your minds about how you've used remedies this year, or what's anything interesting happened in your clinic? Have you seen any interesting cases? What do you ladies want to have a chat about?
Oh, I think my most frustrating this year has been coughs. Coughs have been horrendous.
We're waiting for your book, Eugenie.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
I know, and that's been a tough one for me. And even I have also had a cough this year, which I haven't had a cough for years. So I think it's been really good for me to remember what it's like to have a cough and realize that's why people do. Often you see them and they say, and I've taken this and this. It's like, oh my gosh, stop. But when you've got that cough, it's hard not to keep looking for the next remedy.
I've had that just about 3 weeks ago. I was just a little bit off. I don't quite know what was up there. And okay, just really exhausted. And I think it's just kind of overdone things a little bit. And then I had a bit of a cough, had a bit of a snotty nose, which I cannot remember when last I had a snotty nose. Like it must have been when I was a kid. I don't think I've had one as an adult. And also, once again, can't remember when the last time was I had a cough. But then I had this cough that lingered for, a few days, probably a good week or so. But every time I took a dose of Rumex, it would go away. And I actually ended up canceling a bunch of podcasts. And I even had the beautiful Miranda Castro booked in. And I had to message her and say, can't talk to you because I keep coughing. But every time I'd have a dose of Leadum, it would work in under a minute. It was so great. But I think if I could have rested, it would have been fine. But I still had clients booked the whole week. So, the Leadum just had to kind of do its job. If I had been able to just stay home and rest for a couple of days, I probably not. Did I say Leadum?
Yeah, you meant
Rumex. Sorry. Oh my gosh. See, I
know. I was busy thinking.
Me too.
I was just trying to see if you ladies are awake. So Rumex. Yes, so I had some Rumex, and it would just get rid of that tickle, like seriously under a minute. Every time I took it, it would just go away in under a minute. And so, I'd be start coughing in a consultation, and the client would say, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, fine." Take my dose of Rumex, and under a minute it would be fine, and that would last maybe like an hour or so, and then I'd have to have another dose again. So, but it worked really fast. You could feel the instant relief from it. It felt like just dust and really dry and tickly and just really annoying. It's just such a beautiful remedy.
I've got a nice little case. Do you want me to read out a bit?
Yes, please.
Wrote a few notes because it's a bit in a. It's actually for my sister. So earlier this year, around March, she was admitted to hospital, organs shutting down, not so well. She's anorexia, and different things, a lot of history there. But she went, I was called to say that she's not going to make the weekend. So I went down to see her and see what was going on. And she was okay that day, but the very next day she just went downhill and she was unconscious, unresponsive. So I contacted Dr. Dixit in India and asked him, told him what's going on. And he said, I told him a bit about the history. He says, give 1 dose of Natramua 0/1. So I gave that. And later that day, we found out she was in status epilepticus, which is ongoing epileptic fits.
Oh.
So I let him know what was happening. And he said, give Artemisia vulgaris. So within 24 hours, she was responsive again, not properly sitting up or anything like that, but able to nod her head and do different things and move her hands a little bit. So it was going in the right direction. And then somebody on the ward, a nurse or somebody, got COVID. So we were locked out of the hospital. So I couldn't give her the remedy because we had to give it every 2 hours. So we had a team of family giving it every 2 hours. So after that, she deteriorated to the point they said, we're sending her home to die, basically. That was it. She'll be dead within 2 days. So by the end of the weekend, that'll be it. So, of course, I had my opportunity again to give the Artemisia. So I did every 2 hours. We were going all through the night. We had a team of the family, caring for her all through the night. And again, she responded. And by day 2, she was sitting up and drinking a cup of tea and able to drink some water and able to communicate, not properly talking, but yes, no, all that sort of thing. The nurse came on the Monday to sign the death certificate, and she just couldn't believe her eyes. It was a miracle, basically, that in such a short period of time that remedy could have fixed her like that.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's still alive.
Absolutely incredible.
It is. And I think that he chose that drug, number 1, epilepsy, number 2, anorexia, number 3, from grief. So that was the starting point, the grief. And I studied with Dr. Dixit since I began homeopathy. So every Tuesday we have a mentoring session for about 2.5 hours. So lots of Indian doctor / homeopaths. And we talk about all sorts of things, all cases. We have a half an hour COVID session every week. We have a half an hour pediatric session, and then we get into cases and other different things.
That's a huge commitment. So 2.5 hours every week.
Every week. It's been going for 35 years.
Wow.
It's called the Organon Club.
That's amazing.
Wow, I'd never heard of that.
Yeah,
sounds like we need to get him on the show, on the podcast.
You could. He just turned 70.
That's all right. Jill that I interviewed just turned 80.
Yeah, but he's still very active, still seeing clients. So I can ask him for you.
Yes, please.
And tell me, because you said the other day, so there's new information of treating COVID from the Indians as well as to what?
Well, Eugenie, I think you've got Dr. Dixit's ZC, don't you? The zinc. Yeah, okay. So they discovered putting those 3 remedies together would kind of stop the side effects of COVID or to use as a preventative. And I've just done that with my daughter this week, who came down with COVID on Monday. And from her ringing me, like going downhill so fast within an hour to getting on the ZC, it was just amazing the next day. She even got up and walked the dog. Like, I had COVID a month ago. I didn't get out of bed for 3 days. But I was doing it. So maybe the younger respond better. I don't know.
I had a case of the other day with someone who had COVID, and they're in rural Victoria, so they only had a few remedies at home that they'd already gotten, and it was with Christmas post, it's going to take a bit longer to get remedies to them, so they had to use whatever they had at home, and they used arnica, which I know a lot of homeopaths have used with COVID type cases, but a lot of clients don't think of arnica for this kind of illness. They just kept talking about achy body, really, just that exhausted, could barely move, really uncomfortable. When I did the Zoom with him initially, death's door just looked awful. I had a follow-up 2 days later. I actually didn't recognize him because I hadn't met him before. He was dressed, looked so well. He was like, I can't believe it. He was talking again. It felt so amazing. And just arnica. So the remedies that I posted to him weren't needed at all because they aren't
not needed now.
But
they probably will be at some stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's amazing. It's so good.
So if you had to kind of sum up this year and some highlights for yourself and what you've learned and, and maybe also just a little bit about what you hope for next year. I can go first because it's probably not fair that I just throw this out to you and make you go first. But I think the things that I've learned this year is that it's so important to stay open-minded. And I'm just thinking of the podcast more specifically and how at the start of the year, I still had a certain way of this is how homeopathy is done. This is right. And this isn't right and all that. And I just feel like I have zero of that anymore. Like I've talked to so many homeopaths around the world who practice so wildly differently and seem to have great results in their clinic. So my thing this year has been just, do what feels right. And also that incredibly humbling experience I had in the end of January of having my appendix rupture and having to go into hospital. That was really incredible. The staff at the hospital were absolutely amazing. I talked with several of them I talked to about homeopathy, and they were actually really open to it. And just, I was quite surprised by that. But it was so wonderful to, have this beautiful experience. It was actually, very, very healing, very beautiful experience. And then also have my remedies at the hospital in the drawer right next to me. Sharon popped in a couple of times and brought me some remedies and, brought me some treats and kept me company, which was amazing. But having the homeopathics right there to help me heal up alongside the mainstream medicine was really amazing. And I think my hope for next year is going to be to see even more people using homeopathy. It's really exciting to see more people kind of waking up and wanting to empower themselves and looking for safe alternatives. I've definitely seen a big increase of that this year, and it might just be my own little bubble that I live in, but I really feel that people are starting to open their minds up a little more. I've had so many clients this year that have said to me, I've been on antidepressants for 20 years, but because of what's happened with COVID, I don't trust the medical system anymore. I don't want to be on it anymore. I want you to help me get off them. And obviously we can't take anybody off their medication, but just with the work of the help of their doctor and working alongside us, that people are just starting to ask more questions. And I'm excited that more people wanted to empower their own health. And that's what I kind of hope for next year. It's just seeing more of that, more people using natural medicine, but also realizing that it doesn't have to be this or that. You can have both, and that's totally fine. And you should be allowed to choose the best of everything that's on offer. And there should be zero judgment around that. So that's my hope for next year.
That's a good one.
That's very
Sharon,
good.
I'll just pick on you again. Do you want to go next?
So I agree. It's been really interesting, and with all the different ways of which people have practiced, and it's been really interesting. I've loved your podcasts for hearing all about that and from people all over the world. And there was a point where I was really stressed because of all the detoxes that ruled our clinics for a while because of everyone and all the mandates. And I found that really hard and confronting. But then realized, it was just something that needed to be done to give people those choices and to support them emotionally and physically through that. And what would my hope going forward would be the same, hopefully more just empowering people to treat themselves as well and just boost their immune systems and try to not get to where the sickness beforehand. So I think that's one of the main things.
I like that part that you said, because I stopped taking on new clients, like I think 2 years ago. So when the mandates came in over here, a lot of people ended up getting the shot, and then would come and see us beforehand to get detoxes so that they wouldn't have as many effects. So, I mean, that was before Donna joined us. So you and Sarah really took the brunt all of that because I didn't take on any new clients. So you had, I don't know how many consultations would you have had? Probably like hundreds of people coming to see you for that. So you would have had one after the next, after the next, after the next. So I can only imagine how challenging that might have been. And I guess that grows us as a practitioner because we have these people coming in one after the next, after the next, after the next, doing something that we personally would never do for ourselves. But because we're the unbiased observer just out there to help, it teaches us that humility, that it's not about our choices or what we would do. We're here to help, and we are just going to try and do our best. So
and educate as well,
and educate,
show them there's another way.
And on that, there was so much more than I think in that space you had to be more than just a homeopathic practitioner. You really had to be there emotionally for them to have someone to sort of hold their hand a little bit through it, because a lot of people felt this isn't really what they wanted to do, but felt they had no other option. And yes, they're coming to you for remedies to support them through this, but they wanted they just wanted to be heard as well, for their concerns to be heard, and for someone to say, it's fine to feel that way. Like, we're not advising them on getting it or not getting it or anything like that. We're just saying, if you choose to get it, these are some things that you can do alongside it. We're always there to just offer remedies, but to actually listen to people, I think, was a big part of the process for them. And I know that's always part of the consultation, but this felt so intense, this sort of listening aspect to it during all of that. That's all calmed down now because we're not in the same space, but it was quite full on, that whole period.
I know, and feeling, I'd have couples coming in and crying, and one person taking one for the team to support the family.
I've chosen to give up the career, and they'll do it instead. It was those kind of conversations. That's
it. And parents bringing their kids in because they had to wanted to go to leavers, and the children were going to go to leavers, and it was horrendous. But you learn from it and get through, and so many different choices and people deciding what to do, and that you can't judge or with anything. Everyone's decision is their own, and so at least we can help them and hopefully lessen effects. So that was it.
And how lucky that there is something that you can offer alongside, like there is an option to go along with it to help support people.
Very grateful to Ton and all his work that he's done.
So it's
Donna,
my turn.
I'm
not
turn.
sure.
Well, Sarah hasn't really had a turn. She just quickly kind of skimmed over that, so she still needs a proper turn. We're coming back to you, but Donna, what's your year in reflection in your clinic, and what's your hope for next year?
My year in reflection is, even though I'm 60 years old, I have been gaining more and more in confidence. And I don't know how that happens, but it's still happening. So being more confident in prescribing, being more confident to talk about homeopathy to others. Like, I'm also a Bowen therapist. So if I have a client on the table for Bowen therapy, I'll just say to them, you need homeopathy. Like, before I would skirt around it and be a little bit, meek in suggesting, but now I'm just straight out. You need homeopathy, I'll email you the guide to start writing your history, and they do it because I think people have woken up more and more in this last 3 years that they need to do things to boost their health and their vitality. So that's really good. The thing that I'd like to do is, I was supposed to by this time have finished a course for homeopathy for women's hormonal health and weight management. I've only just skirted around the beginning of it. So my aim is to get that finished and start helping in that area. But, that's probably my future, actually. So that's my year in review and my future.
Women's hormones are such a topic, and it's so satisfying to treat because we have so many amazing hormones that can help so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very satisfying area to work in because you can make a huge difference, and the flow-on effect of that, what that then has on the whole family. So when you've got the mums hormones in balance, so the whole family and pets and everyone else is happier because of that.
Right.
So.
Exactly. But
Sarah?
You know what?
Oh, yes.
I'll just say the two top hormonal remedies that we have that aren't, rare or anything is sepia and pulsatilla.
I have to share this. I was just so irritable. I was with PMS the other day and just so sitting in my miserable irritableness. And then I was like, I should just go take some sepia. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I want to feel this irritability.
And everybody else around me.
Go and take it. Yeah. It's like, no, they deserve to feel my anger and my irritableness right now. And I know if I just I did take a dose of sepia at the end, but I had to kind of calm down enough to go and take a dose. But then I was great after that.
Do you find when you need sepia, the people around you need pulsatilla? I know I'm in a sepia state when everyone else is in a pulsatilla. Now, that's my interpretation, that they're in a pulsatilla place. Everyone feels very whiny when I'm in a sepia state. So it's usually give them a pulsatilla and give me a sepia, and then everyone's happy.
Give them a pulsatilla and me a wine.
That's needed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
True.
So Sarah, your year in review and hopes for the future.
My year has felt very fast. I feel like this year has absolutely flown by. Apparently next year is going to feel faster, so hold on tight. Yeah, I think it's felt very fast and very busy and very full and incredibly rewarding and challenging. And it's just been a big year. Like, it just feels like it's been a big year. And sometimes I sort of look back and think, I'm not sure how I'm still going, how I'm still doing what I'm doing. Sometimes not as well as I'd like, but yeah, I feel kind of proud of myself that I've gotten through this year. It's felt very big. And I saw a meme the other day saying that moment when you realize that 2023 is just around the corner and you're still trying to process 2019, and that's nearly 4 years ago. And you just go, oh my goodness, how is that possible? So that's what it feels like for me at the moment, that I'm I've gone 4 years and I'm still trying to process something from a long time ago. And I think I'm in a real gathering information phase. I'm just sort of eating homeopathy at the moment. Like, I want all the information. I want to learn from all of my colleagues and all the homeopaths that you get on your podcast. And I bought way too many books that I can read this year. And
yeah, me too.
I've got a lot of reading to do. So my family keeps saying no more books until you've finished the ones you have, but it just keeps growing. I keep getting deliveries to the door, so I can't stop it. And I think next year, I want to keep learning. I just really want to do. Sharon laughs at me all the time because I keep signing up to new courses, and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's another one. Of course you've signed up. Of course you have."
Yeah,
and it's true. I can't stop it. I'm sort of addicted at the moment, but I feel like there's so much excitement for homeopathy at the moment. Like, if you listen to, there's a lot of scaremongering. It's all going to go downhill, and homeopathy's not going to survive. But you read the newsletter from Martin and Pleasance, and you're like, no, they are inundated with requests. They have so many practitioners signing up. They have so many people purchasing from them. We're all stocking up our supplies. I just think there's there feels like there's a buzz around homeopathy at the moment. And I'm just so excited to be in it at this moment. And I just want more of it. So I'm just kind of riding the wave. I feel like the water's being sucked out at the beach at the moment, and the tsunami's on its way. So I feel like I just want to be involved in that homeopathy wave. So that's my goal for next year, is just ride the wave.
I feel exactly. Yeah, that is like a round of applause. I feel exactly the same. And if I see the rate at which people are signing up to study homeopathy, that is mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah,
it's really, really cool. I just want to say one very last little thing is that for if anyone else is listening out there, we've got this incredible software called Radar Opus. They've just recently had an upgrade. I think people must think I get something out of this. I honestly don't. It's just that it made such a huge difference in my clinic. They've upgraded their software to Adonis. It's now called Adonis, and it used to have 2,000 remedies in it, and now with Adonis it's got something like 4,000 or 5,000 remedies in it. So when you were talking about all this information, Sarah, and all the new remedies that we're getting and all the new, all this information that's out there, I am loving Adonis in my clinic, because the crystal remedies are coming up, orchids are coming up, mushrooms are coming up, COVID nozos are coming up, butterflies are coming up. All these really weird and wonderful remedies that I've been learning about this year is coming up in repertorization where they never used to before. And I'm finding that heaps of fun, because now I've bought all these books this year, the new Materia Medica and all this sort of stuff. And now if it comes up in repertorization, I can actually just go through my new books and just read up on some of the Materia Medica of it. So if you ladies don't already have Adonis, definitely invest in that for the new year, because it's been a lot of fun. I've prescribed some very cool things that I never would have otherwise because of that. So it's just made it more interesting.
Is that still on there month by month one? You can do
it month by month as well. Yeah. But I mean, I had the existing package, so it was only $100 to upgrade, which I don't even know how they can make it that cheap.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
wow.
The problem is you need my computer. I need a new computer as well, because you've got to download the whole thing.
Just get a new computer.
Treat yourself to a new computer.
It's not even a treat. It's essential. It is essential. It's not even a treat.
I wish they'd just have it up on a cloud somewhere where I could
Ladies,
yeah.
it's been a wonderful year with you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And, it's wonderful if I'm stuck in a case and I can just quickly message you and, get some variety of ideas out. I hope also for us that our bond and our knowledge together will grow and we'll get even better systems in place of how we can communicate and as a team help our clients better and grow ourselves as practitioners as well.
Mhm.
That's
Very
great.
good.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. And have a wonderful new year. All the best.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.